They say money changes people. But what if you had millions and no one knew? Would your family still love you for who you are, or would they turn their backs when you needed the most? I was about to find out, because I have just won the lottery. Not a small win, not a couple $1,000s, but millions. And instead of celebrating, I made the riskiest decision of my life. I didn't tell a soul. It was a cold Friday evening in Ohio when everything changed. I stopped at a local gas station after work, picked up a ticket without thinking much of it, and stuffed it into my pocket. The next morning, when I checked the numbers at my kitchen table, my hands froze. I triple-cheeked, heart pounding, so loud it drowned out the ticking clock. It was real. A won. My life, in an instant, had shifted from average to extraordinary. But instead of joy, a heavy dread settled over me. I thought of my wife, my brother, and my parents. I thought of the whispers, the fake smiles, the cousins who hadn't spoken to me in years suddenly calling. I wasn't ready for that storm. So I decided to keep it secret. For now, no one would know. At first, it felt liberating. I went to work like nothing happened, driving my old car, drinking the same weak coffee from the office machine. No one suspected anything. But then life tested me in ways I hadn't expected. It started small. My brother called one night asking if I could lend him a few $100s because his rent was late. Normally, I would have helped. But I wanted to see what my family would do if I wasn't their financial safety net. So I told him the truth, or at least a part of it. I'm struggling too, I said. I can't help right now. He was silent, then sighed. Yeah, figures. And he hung up. That sting stayed with me. A week later, my parents needed help with some bills. I told them the same thing, that I couldn't afford it. My father's disappointment was clear in his voice. You've always been the responsible one, he said. We thought you'd have our back. And then, the moment that cut deepest, my wife. One evening, she came to me in tears, saying the mortgage was too much, that maybe we needed to sell the house, maybe even move into a smaller place. I had more than enough money sitting in my bank account to solve everything in seconds, but I looked her in the eyes and whispered, we'll figure it out. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and write in the comments which country you're watching this video from. Enjoy the story. Her expression hardened. Figure it out. You always have an answer. Why now? What aren't you telling me? I brushed it off, pretending to be tired. But her suspicion grew day by day, and I could feel her pulling away. And then something happened that made me question everything, something that forced me to wonder if keeping the secret had been the biggest mistake of my life. The tension in my home was suffocating. Every day, my wife's eyes lingered on me a little longer, as if searching for answers I wasn't ready to give. At night, I pretended to sleep, but I could feel her shifting beside me, restless, deep in thought. She wasn't the only one. My brother had stopped calling altogether, and my parents sounded colder each time I picked up the phone. I had won millions, yet I had never felt so poor. The real test came one Saturday morning. My wife handed me a stack of overdue bills. Look at this, she said sharply. We're drowning. I asked my sister for help, and even she turned us down. We can't keep living like this. Her words pierced through me. I wanted to shout the truth, that I could buy us 3 houses, 10 cars, and wipe away every debt in a heartbeat. But the words stayed locked inside. Instead, I said softly, we'll get through it. That night, she exploded. You don't care, do you? You'd rather let us sink than swallow your pride and ask for help. She stormed out of the room, slamming the door behind her. My heart ached, but still I stayed silent. I told myself I was testing love, testing loyalty. But was I really? Or was I just too afraid to see the truth? Days passed. Then something unusual happened. My coworker, Daniel, noticed my distracted mood at the office. Everything okay at home? He asked. He was a good man, one of the few people I trusted. Without thinking, I almost confessed. The words, I won the lottery, danced on my tongue, but I swallowed them down and simply said, it's complicated. But Daniel didn't press. Instead, he smiled faintly and said, sometimes the people closest to us show their true colors when life gets hard. Be careful. Those words haunted me. Was I being careful or reckless? Then the storm truly hit. My wife discovered that I had withdrawn money from our savings account weeks earlier. Not the lottery winnings, just a small withdrawal I had made to buy time while I figured things out. But to her, it was betrayal. "You've been hiding money from me," she shouted. "Is that why you've been acting so strange?" Her anger shook me to my core. I denied it, saying it was for groceries and small expenses, but she didn't believe me. The distance between us grew like a canyon, impossible to bridge. And then came the moment that pushed everything over the edge. My father fell ill, and the hospital bills piled up quickly. My mother called me in tears, begging for help. "Please, son, we don't know what else to do." I clenched the phone so hard my knuckles turned white. Millions sat untouched in my account. I could save my father in seconds. But instead, I whispered, "I'll see what I can do." That night, I sat alone in the dark, the weight of my secret crushing me. I told myself I was testing my family, but deep down, I feared something darker. What if their love had already begun to fade? And just when I thought things couldn't get worse, I found something that shook me to the core, something my wife had been hiding from me. It was late, almost midnight, when I noticed my wife's purse left on the kitchen counter. Normally, I would never invade her privacy, but something urged me forward. Maybe it was guilt. Maybe it was suspicion. Whatever it was, I reached inside and pulled out an envelope. Inside were bank receipts. She had been quietly transferring small amounts of money into a separate account. Money from her job, from household savings, even from gifts my parents had given us over the years. At first, I thought maybe she was planning a surprise for me. But the more I read, the more the truth burned in my chest. She was saving for herself. And then I saw the notes scribbled on the back of one of the receipts, just in case things don't work out. Those words nearly broke me. Here I was, holding on to millions, clinging to the belief that love and loyalty meant more than money, while she was preparing for her escape. The next morning, I couldn't look at her the same way. She noticed my silence, but instead of asking what was wrong, she grew sharper, more impatient. "You need to do more for this family," she said coldly. "I can't carry all this alone." Her words echoed like thunder. I wanted to laugh, to scream, to throw the lottery check in her face and say, "I've already done more than you could imagine." But I didn't. Instead, I called my parents. My father's condition had worsened. My mother begged again for help. And this time I decided to act. I pulled out a few $1,000s from the lottery winnings, nothing close to the full amount, and quietly paid for part of the hospital bills. When my mother asked where the money came from, I lied. "I borrowed it from a friend." Her voice cracked with gratitude, and I hung up before the guilt drowned me. But lies have a way of spreading like wildfire. That same evening, my wife confronted me again. "Your mother just called me. She said you borrowed money from the hospital. Who lends you that kind of cash when you can't even pay your own bills? Tell me the truth." I froze. My chest tightened. The walls around my secret were crumbling. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and write in the comments about which country you're watching this video from. Enjoy the story. I forced a smile and muttered something about Daniel helping me out, but I could see doubt in her eyes. She wasn't buying it. Over the next few days, things spiraled. My wife grew colder. My brother stopped speaking to me entirely. Even Daniel seemed to look at me differently, though I had never told him the full truth. Then, one night, I caught my wife whispering on the phone. Her voice was low, urgent. "He's hiding something. I know it. I just need proof." Proof. That one word sent a chill down my spine. She was investigating me, searching for cracks in the story I had built. For the first time, I realized I might lose everything, not just the money, but the people I loved. But what terrified me most was not what she was planning. It was the growing fear inside me. What if I finally revealed the truth, and they chose the money over me? And as I stood there, listening to her hushed whispers in the dark, I knew something explosive was coming. The following week felt like living in a storm that never broke. Every conversation was edged with suspicion. Every glance from my wife felt like a test. My brother still ignored my calls, and my parents, my poor parents, they were fighting their battles alone, believing their son couldn't help. The secret was eating me alive. One night, I came home from work and found my wife sitting at the dining table. Papers were spread out in front of our bank statements, old bills, even scraps of notes I had thrown away. She didn't even look up when I walked in. "Where is it?" she asked, her voice sharp and cold. "Where is what?" I said, playing dumb, though my heart hammered against my ribs. She finally looked at me, her eyes filled with both anger and something worse, contempt. "The money. I don't know how much or where you've hidden it, but I know you're lying. Men don't just find thousands of dollars to pay hospital bills. Not men like you." Her words cut deeper than she knew. "Not men like you." I wanted to shout, to throw the lottery ticket on her face, to scream that I had been protecting us all along. But something inside me told me to hold back. If I revealed the truth now, when her eyes were filled with greed instead of love, what would happen? Would she even see me anymore? Or only the millions? That night, I slept on the couch. Not because she asked me to, but because I couldn't stand the space between us. The next morning, things took an even darker turn. I received a call from the lottery office. They wanted me to come in and finalize some paperwork regarding the claim. They warned me, "Remember, your name will become public after a certain time unless you've taken the right legal steps." My stomach dropped. Public. The word felt like a curse. If my wife didn't find out through her digging, she'd find out when the entire world knew. I panicked. I called Daniel. I told him everything, every secret, every lie, every dollar. At first, there was silence on the other end. Then he whispered, "You're insane for hiding this. But I get it. Still, you can't hold it much longer. It'll destroy you." I asked him to swear he wouldn't tell anyone. He agreed. But even as I hung up, a gnawing fear gripped me. What if my only friend betrayed me too? Later that night, while I pretended to sleep on the couch, I heard my wife moving around the house. Drawers opening. Closets closing. Footsteps pacing the floor. She was searching. And then, just before dawn, I heard the faint creak of the basement door. My chest tightened. I had hidden the winning ticket in a locked box down there. How close was she to finding it? I tiptoed to the hallway and watched her silhouette vanish into the basement. I couldn't breathe. Every second stretched like a lifetime. Finally, she came back up empty-handed, but with a look on her face I couldn't forget. It wasn't disappointing. It wasn't frustration. It was determination. She wasn't giving up. She would find it. And in that moment, I realized something chilling. The more I tried to protect my secret, the more dangerous it became. Because once people sensed there was hidden treasure, they wouldn't stop digging until they unearthed it, even if they buried me along the way. The morning after my wife's midnight search, I knew the walls were closing in. My secret was no longer safe inside the house. It was becoming a weapon wedge that was tearing everything apart. I couldn't eat, couldn't think. Every sound, every knock at the door made me jump. My mind kept circling one question: what happens when she finds it? That evening, the question was answered in the worst way. I came home from work to find the basement lock broken. My heart stopped. I rushed down the stairs and saw the small metal box on the floor, printed open. Empty. The ticket was gone. My legs gave out, and I sat on the cold concrete, staring at the shattered box. My wife knew. She had it. And with that, the last barrier between us had been shattered. When I walked upstairs, she was waiting for me in the kitchen. The lottery ticket sat on the table between us, lit by the faint yellow glow of the ceiling lamp. Her arms were crossed, her face unreadable. "You lied to me," she said. No tears, no trembling, just ice. I opened my mouth, but nothing came out. What could I say? That I had been trying to protect us? That I feared what money would do to our family? That I wanted to keep something pure in a world where everything turned to greed? She slid the ticket toward me. Her eyes never left mine. "You don't trust me. And now I don't trust you. This money, it's not a blessing. It's poison." For a moment, I thought she might rip it in half. Instead, she walked away, leaving me alone with the ticket. I should have felt relief, but all I felt was hollow. The next week, there was a blur of lawyers, accountants, and press waiting outside my door. Just as the lottery office had warned, my name became public. Strangers knocked at my door, begging for help. My brother finally called, not to check on me, but to ask for money. My parents heard the news on television, and their voices carried both pride and confusion when they spoke to me. Daniel stopped by too, shaking his head as if to say, "I told you so." And my wife? She barely spoke to me. We lived in the same house, but every room felt like a battlefield. The ticket had bought me millions, but it had cost me something greater: peace. One night, as I sat alone in the living room, I stared at the ticket again. That little slip of paper that had once felt like a dream now looked like a curse. I realized the truth then. Money doesn't change people. It reveals them. And what it revealed in my family, in my marriage, and in myself was something I wasn't ready to face. The story doesn't end with me spending millions, buying mansions, or sailing yachts. It ends with me sitting in silence, wondering if the price of fortune was worth the cost of everything else. And maybe, just maybe, the real question isn't what would you do if you won the lottery. The real question is, who would you become? Backhand index pointing right. Before we continue to the next story, please subscribe to the channel and write in the comments which country you're watching this video from. Enjoy the story.